Hi everyone, I'm Mims and welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here. Super excited. I have a longer lunch today because I'm teaching later. Anyway, I happened to look out and saw the mail had been delivered. So I grabbed the package, super excited. I know what this is. And there was enough coffee left to make a full mug, or I didn't have to drink. There was still enough coffee left in my in the coffee machine this morning. So super excited to get to have an extra, what feels like an extra cup of coffee, and to open this package. So this is the Great Lakes Oracle. And I was excited to get this one. Yeah, isn't that blue pretty? Okay, so we have the Great Lakes Oracle. We're gonna get into it in just a minute, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why I was excited about this. So I was really excited about this. I was having probably about a year ago, I was having some nostalgia for where I went to school. I grew up in New Mexico, not that you need to know all of this, but somehow I feel like it's important, at least for me, to share this. I grew up in New Mexico, so, you know, near the desert, near the mountains, but not a lot of water. And I went to college up on Lake Superior. And about a year ago, I had been having, you know, just some nostalgia, missing. College was a special time. I really didn't, they were also tumultuous in some ways, but overall, I'm really glad that I had the college experience that I had. You know, going far away to school, living on campus for part of it, living in a cool town, just all of the above. Anyway, getting in touch with some old friends, and the school where I went to just recently closed. But a year ago, I didn't think that that was what was going to happen. But anyway, last fall, I had some nostalgia. And so I just looked up to see if there were any tarot or oracle decks that represented, you know, Lake Superior or the Great Lakes. Like, you know, Lake Superior is the least populated, so I figured, or at least the region, it's the biggest lake, but there are less people around that lake compared to some of the others. So I just looked up and I found that there were two, again, this would have been the fall of 2024. I found two tarot decks. The Rust Belt, I still don't have those, but there's the Rust Belt Tarot, Rust Belt Arcana, and then I think it's called the Great Lakes Tarot. So those were both published. I don't remember now who. Those were published, and that's all. And then I found this Great Lakes Oracle. So I added all three of those to my wish list, mostly two that I could then keep track of them. So this past summer, I, you know, was looking at my wish list and so forth, and in fact, I did an unboxing in August. I will include the link to that video. That was a newer deck that I just found this, like, past summer of 25, and that is a Lake Superior Oracle. That's not the name of it, but I think of it that way because it was more specifically about Lake Superior. And so I got that one on Etsy, and like I said, I will include the link to it. But I went back to my wish list and I decided to go ahead and get this one as well. This is the Great Lakes Oracle, because they're, you know, they might have a similar theme, but they're quite different. So the one that I opted for, at least when I was ordering the Great Lakes Oracle, you could get it, you can get it directly on their website. I don't know if they have an Etsy shop, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll include the link below. But you could get it with a bag or you could get it with a box. And I opted for the bag. I just thought the bag was really pretty. So this cute little bag, and then you kind of see the stamp. Anyway, yeah, I'm having a little sense of place, nostalgia, etc. for Lake Superior, Great Lakes. And so this is the book, and then these are the cards. We'll get into those in a minute, but let's take a look at the booklet. Great Lakes Oracle. Oh, that's pretty. So they have a full illustration, and then it looks like a page for each card, And I don't remember how many there are. 42. The Great Lakes are a majestic collective of freshwater energy that emerged from the Ice Age. This deck of oracle cards will help you take a leap into the cold water where you will explore the lakes on a vibrational energy level. Discover which Great Lakes oracle card will light up your soul like the Northern Lights. Let's see. Included in this deck are tangible objects and places you would find around some of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. And then each card, along with a 100-page guidebook, holds advice, lessons, and wisdom from as far back as the glacial ages. So then the beginning, it has a table of contents, and then it looks like each of the cards are numbered. So there's an intro and how to use. There is a oh yeah, here it says printed in the lakes that touch, printed in the states that touch the Great Lakes. And then it says everyday treasures. So I thought what we would do is we'd flip through and then we'll pull a card and we'll read about it. I assume that if you're here, you're either interested in the Great Lakes or just curious about them. Or maybe you live near them or have lived by them. This is so cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about this. And they're a little different than that Great Lakes, or than that Lake Superior Oracle deck that I'm totally forgetting the name of. So I'm hoping, oh good, I can slip them off. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to break the seal because it's so pretty. And I didn't think to bring out a tarot deck, but these are definitely wider than a typical tarot card, and they're definitely a bit taller as well. So those are the backs. Look how pretty that looks. You can almost like make a kind of like a big lake collage. Yeah, those are pretty. And then those are the fronts. So they all have a border, and then on the bottom it has the number and then the name, and then that would correspond to where it is in the book. Oh, those are pretty. Okay. So this is the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is, I think that was a boat. I know it was a ship, but I'm trying to remember. I think it sunk on Lake Superior. This is a Christmas tree ship. See, some of these I don't know. Freighter, tugboat, anchor, fishing net. This is the Mackinac Bridge, the Sioux box. So some of this is not going to be exactly familiar to me, but I'm still excited. Yeah, this is Pictured Rocks, Sleeping Bear Dunes, Tawamanon Falls, Lighthouse Keeper, Lighthouse, Fresnel Lens, Gales of November, Copper. Aren't these beautiful? And then Forest, Mariner, Lakeside Cabins, Sturgeon, Sea Lamprey, Morel Mushrooms, Forget-Me-Nots. Oh, these are so pretty. Petoskey stones? I'm not sure how to say that one. Logging, Lake Superior Agate, Driftwood, Beach Glass, Cherries, Beach, Trillium. I remember this one in the fall of my first year. We took it was one of the classes that I was in. I was like I was an environmental studies major, so I think it was either my biology or my intro to environmental studies class. And that was one of the very first wildflowers that I learned, because I didn't know trillium from before. Color change. Zebra mussels. Now they're invasive. I would be curious what that one says. I'm gonna look that one up because I am curious. Zebra mussels are invasive, and so it's what does it say? Oh, there you go. Zebra mussels make their way into the Great Lakes as an invasive species. What in your life is hiding truths? How are zebra mussels contributing to the blurring lines of your reality? Oh, that's cool. And then each of them has an affirmation. So I like that they're not just acknowledging, you know, the rosy parts of the lake, but the, you know, sunrise. Is that sunrise or sunset? Yeah, sunrise. Shipwrecks. Glacier. Northern Lights. Ooh, sunset. Piping plovers. Moon. And then the Great Lakes. So this is Lake Superior up there. Anyway, let's do a flip through, or we'll do a one card pull. What energy, or what, let's see, how should I phrase this? What would you have us, what do you want us to know today? What do you want us to know today? These cards feel stiff. I guess I could do that first. And they have a pleasant kind of matte quality. They definitely feel kind of on the thicker end, but they do bounce back. But they're big enough, like they take my whole hand to even hold them. So they're a tricky shuffle. I'm an overhand shuffler anyway, but even to do that, I guess you can always do it this way, right? Anyway, okay. What message do you have for us today? What message do you want us to know today? And we got anchor. Okay, so card number 5. I love when, I think this is kind of like, my favorite oracle cards are ones where it's mostly the image, and then if there are keywords, they're at the bottom, but they're not in the way. I mean, this obviously, the keyword is, it's not so much that, it's what it is, but I love that it leaves you, if you don't want to grab the book, or you just want to have this, like, you know, out on your desk or something, you could have it out and you could think about, like, what does that mean for me? Or just journal prompt and then maybe come back to the book. So settling down, dropping anchor. So it has the keywords on this side. And then it says, there are times in our lives when we feel disconnected. We can work hard toward achieving contentment, but still never feel like we have reached solid footing. The anchor card represents the need to feel grounded, that yearning to drop anchor and feel settled. Work on grounding yourself in practices that will nurture the things you need most in your life. Trust in the comfort that a good anchor will always hold you as you sway to the ever-changing moments of your life. And then the affirmation, I am anchored in what makes me grow. That's beautiful. I love this deck. I'm very excited to have it. It feels, at least for me, personally significant. I'm excited to work with it. And I feel like that anchoring message does have, I'm not going to elaborate too much, but there is a move coming up, not like in a predictive way, but in a, like, I know it will happen soon, you know, in the next few months. So it might be that. And it might also be even like thinking about like my nostalgia for Lake Superior, the solidness of, you know, that lake being near, being able to visit home. I think it was the first time, yeah, it definitely was like the first time in my life where I made a home on my own. And I think there is something to that, you know, that time of you know, early adulthood. I was 18 when I went to school. So that like making home, but it was of my own choice rather than dictated by, you know, the adults in my life, you know, divorce and jobs and other things. So yeah, I think there is something to that, like wanting to make home and wanting to be able to find home here so that if I do want to travel or whatever, that I could find home regardless of what's going on. Anyway, what do you think about this deck? Do you have nostalgia for a particular point in life? Did you ever live near one of the Great Lakes or even just near water? I know that these specifically kind of look at and really focus on like freshwater lakes, but you wouldn't have to live on a Great Lake, I think, to enjoy these. And I, you know, sometimes you can find a place that feels significant even if you've never lived there. This has only happened a couple of times, but I can recall, like, you know, stopping in a town on my way somewhere else, you know, to get gas or to have lunch or to use the restroom or whatever, and thinking, I could stop right here and live without even knowing anything about the town, you know, just thinking, yeah, I could do that. Anyway, thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed my little nostalgia for Lake Superior, and I'm excited to use these beautiful cards. Like I said, the link will be below. It's not an affiliate link, but if you wanted to be able to buy these directly, it's an indie deck. I think they're lovely. It's a great little guidebook. They're also just beautiful cards. And even if you don't live near a lake or have never, you're just needing maybe some freshwater reflections, this might be a beautiful deck for you. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for being here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're finding home somewhere. I hope you are finding joy, taking care of others, and finding ways to take care of the earth in a mutual aid way. And I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.